I should not have been as nervous as I was watching this game. Like in a game against the Wizards when they're without their best player, they were also without one of their starters in Rui Hachimura, or at least I think he's normally one of their starters, but he's one of their better role players. Whatever, I'm not going to complain, the Bulls won. And this really was a must win. Like, you come back home after a rough road trip, you've lost 3 in a row, and you're taking on the Wizards, a team that has been struggling. You need to win this game. I just wouldn't have expected it to be so close, but a lot of the reason why the Bulls allowed the Wizards to hang around in this one was because they turned the ball over so many damn times. 19 turnovers in total, and the Wizards capitalized on a lot of those turnovers. And the Bulls also struggled with their shooting until really the final minutes of the game where they could not miss a 3. Huge shots hit from Zach Lavine. This is the Zach Lavine we need to see. We got a taste of it in that game against the Kings, but there were still some bad decisions made by Zach towards the end of the game, and he missed some key baskets that the Bulls really needed to win it. Seeing Zach finally come through in the clutch, and really his first game since that fourth quarter against the Nets, was such a needed sight to see for Bulls fans. Zach ended up finishing the game with 25 points on solid efficiency, shooting 8 for 19 overall, 5 from 9 from 3, also 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. It was actually a very complete game from Zach, even on the defensive end with his effort. 6 turnovers though, not good. In fact, him and DeMar combined for 11 of the Bulls' 19 turnovers alone. You need your best players to be taking a little bit better care of the ball, that's for sure. But you know what I did like seeing from this game, despite it being pretty sloppy at times with all the turnovers, but seeing the balanced scoring between the big three. And not only that, the ball movement. Guys were actually moving around, cutting to the basket, making good passes. Well, not all the time. It's why they had so many turnovers. But 29 assists, which is one of the highest team assists we have seen from the Bulls in a while in any game. And you look at DeMar, Vooch, and Zach, 27 points, 25, and 25 respectively. You know, give Vooch a lot of credit in this one because I always harp on Vucevic not taking advantage of mismatches, but when he goes up against these bigger guys like Porzingis, I always think he's going to be in for a rough night. But no, he was doing a great job posting up, whether it be on Kristaps Porzingis or Kuzma. Shot 10 for 16, was 3 for 5 from 3, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Only 1 turnover also in the mountain of turnovers tonight for the Bulls. I need to see a more aggressive Vucevic like this, and I need to see the Bulls getting him more involved in the paint, which it seems like Billy Donovan has been sending the message to the guys like Zach and DeMar that they need to start getting Vooch involved more down low. And then for DeMar, you know, he's been struggling a little bit with his shot. I mean, for him, like he still shot 11 for 21 on 27 points, but for DeMar, he's been struggling a little bit in the fourth quarter. I mean, really more just sinking those shots late in game that we're so used to seeing him do, which he really struggled in both the games against the Kings and the Warriors. He did have a couple big shots tonight, as well as hit those 2 big free throws as well with seconds left in the game, but it was good to see DeMar defer a little when Zach was clearly feeling it and shots weren't going down for DeMar. That presence of mind to be able to do so and not just try to take over the games like we've been seeing DeMar do throughout the season and costing the Bulls at time is another change we need to see from this team. And then Caruso, you know, I've seen a lot of people in the comments of my recent videos saying that Alex Caruso needs to be held accountable more. How he's playing like trash, how he's not stepping up like we saw last season. Like, guys, just because Caruso isn't scoring and hasn't been able to shoot the ball well doesn't mean he's not an impactful player. First of all, he's never really been a good shooter. That's just not part of his game. You gotta remind everyone, Alex Caruso is leading the entire team in box plus minus. When he's on the court, the Bulls have been at their best so far this season. It's everything else that he does on the court to impact the game, primarily on the defensive end. And you saw that tonight. Yeah, he only had 5 points. Yeah, he only took 4 shots. But he also had 9 assists and 4 steals, and he was a plus 17 tonight for the team, which yet again was a team high. So anyway, I don't want to hear about people talking about Alex Caruso, how he's been playing like trash, when in fact he's been the most impactful player for the Bulls so far this season. As for Patrick Williams tonight, not a bad game. He had that nice Euro step dunk, which was good to see. That got me off my seat. What I will say, though, is that I like seeing Pat's aggression. Like, for his flaws, some of the bad turnovers, some missed shots that really he should be making, he's at least not playing like passive Pat that we saw at the beginning of the season, where there were times you didn't even realize he was on the court when he was that MIA in terms of doing much of anything when he was out there. Could he be better? Yeah, but at least he's been more impactful when he's on the floor. And I do think him coming off the bench is going to serve him well, which Billy Donovan did add, by the way, that Pat will be back in the second unit once Javonte Green is cleared to play. He's only been inserted back into the starting lineup because Javonte has been out, so we'll see how that plays out once he is back. Also, it was good to see a strong game from Ayo coming off the bench. He even earned himself a spot in closing out the game. Sometimes you kind of need that fire and getting that demotion to get you start playing your best basketball. I have a feeling it'll be a while before we see Io back in the starting lineup, as it's pretty clear Billy wants to see how things will work out with this new look starting lineup for an extended period of time. But either way, I hope they continue working on his development, even in coming off the bench. All in all, though, I mean, maybe not the prettiest game, but the Bulls, they gotta win, and that's all that matters. If you guys caught my video from earlier this morning, I talked about how these next 10 games, which are gonna be easier matchups for the Bulls, are really gonna define the rest of their season and their path forward on how they restructure this roster, if they do at all. I said at a minimum, the Bulls need to go 7-3 over these next 10 games. Hopefully, it'll be better than that, and it starts with a win tonight. They're off again for another long stretch until Saturday, when they'll be taking on the Mavs back at the United Center. I'll have a live chat for that game, and until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.